Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela on behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine. I want you guys to take this opportunity to share this inside your circle of influence. You never know what the next person may need. For those that do not know who I am affectionately known as the queen of collaboration across these social media streets. But I am author Angela. I'm the founder of AAALAC, which is the African American Author Literacy Awareness Campaign. I am also the CEO of Aspiring Authors Magazine, where my desire is to bridge the gap between brown authors all over this world and to touch on topics that's affecting our brown community. I'm just waiting on my guests to pop on in. Hello, Author Pamela J. Hayes. I want to thank you again for the amazing interview we had on today. Thank you for stopping by and sharing with me on today. If you guys missed that live interview, you have an opportunity to go over to iHeartRadio and hear it. If you're right here on Facebook, go ahead and go over to my page, click on that link, and go ahead and download so you guys can check out some of these amazing authors that's a part of this 122 authors from around the world campaign. I tell you, the movement is amazing. I've had an opportunity to interview 49 amazing authors. I tell you, this journey has been amazing since I started trying to select these 122 authors. If you don't understand what we're doing over here, let me explain to you what we're doing while I wait on my guests, y'all. So, what we're doing is we're going to be highlighting, showcase, and promoting 122 authors the entire 2023. So if you are a part of this movement, if you have something going on, if you have events, if you have whatever, if you need someone to help push that you're doing, we're going to help you with promoting and things of that nature. We're going to be hosting some virtual as well as live events around the U.S. We're not going to be able to make it out the country yet, but we plan on doing that by 2024. Yeah, I got to take this call, so hold on a second. Actually, this is one of my authors that's incarcerated. So hold on a second, y'all. I am waiting on my guests to pop in, y'all. But let me take this really quick before my guests pop. Okay. So y'all, I have a well, my guest is in backstage right now, but I have a special guest that stopped in really, really quick, y'all. Those that follow me on the WBNN know that he was supposed to be a guest. Oh no. So I want y'all to listen up really, really quick. I have special guests with me on today. Hey, Mr. Jerome, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm right here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? Um, I want you to share just a little bit about yourself really quick, if you would.
So, my name is Jerome Devani Wilson. I've been wrongfully incarcerated in the penal colony known as Texas for about 20 years. January 7th will make 20 years, in which I had a 2.5 day trial, which is unheard of, for a capital murder offense that I did not commit. Things of that nature. Um, I'm also an author. I've written a few books. I have another book coming out, but the biggest book that I've written so far is Glass Wallpaper, The Poetical Eulogy of a Political Prisoner. And I actually received disciplinary cases for that book. I was written up 3 different times for publishing that book because though there is a freedom of speech in this country, there is no freedom of speech once you're locked and bound to one of these plantations. They tell you when to talk, they tell you when to sleep, they tell you when to take a shower. As a matter of fact, for the last several days, actually last several weeks, they feed us breakfast here at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning after that. For the last couple of days, I've been getting into it with not only the guards, but the inmates, because the inmates are so slave-minded that they put our food on the floor. So they'll come through at 2:30. We're not leaving to go to the chow hall because no one comes to work. So since they're short of staff, they bring their food to you. You know those little styrofoam cups, those little white cups you get? Like if you go to, I don't know, maybe you're at Atlantic, you get your brakes fixed, or you're somewhere where they have complimentary cup coffee, and they give you a little white styrofoam cup. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Well, if you go about a quarter of the way up, that's how full they fill it up with grits. And of course, when you get it, it's ice cold, so they're not warm. So this is what we get for breakfast. We got about a quarter cup of that of grits, and then you get maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something like that. Then open your door and drop it on the floor. Now, if they're going to give you that little bowl of cereal that's like multigrain or some generic cornflakes or whatever, they'll come to first and drop your cereal on the floor, go all the way around to all 3 tiers, drop everybody's cereal on the floor. Then they'll come back and open the door up so that you can get your peanut butter and jelly sandwich and your grits. But no one complains about it. They're so slave minded down here that I guess it's like they've forgotten that we're supposed to be kings and we're grown men. We're actually humans. So the humanity aspect of us being fed is just gone out the window. And I just walked past the warden on the way from the law library, and I asked him why they was putting our food on the floor. And he just kept walking to me and stopped and said, I guess because you don't get up and come to the door. So that's what we're dealing with down here. That's one of the things that we're dealing with. Being underfed, fed at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, malnourished, and it's hard to think when you're underfed, right?
That's part of the system. Is to keep you in bondage. They don't want you to be nourished because they don't want you to think. That's part of their
Right.
plan.
And you know
Wow.
that it's a cold snap right quick or an Arctic blast, depending on where you are, what they call it. A cold snap, an Arctic blast.
Right.
You go to the law library, they have the AC on. So why is the AC on in the middle of a cold snap or an Arctic blast? Because they don't want you to come. There were several of us that was supposed to win that said, man, I'm not going to the law library today because we're going to freeze in there. And that's what they want. So I show up, and gentlemen like myself, we show up just to let them know that no matter how cold you have, that we're going to show up. And before I left, I told the ladies in the law library when they said count cleared and it was time to leave, I said, okay, we're leaving now. Y'all can turn the heat back on.
Wow. I mean, that's sad. That is really sad. Like, people don't understand. People don't realize what really goes on behind prison walls. They think that you guys are just enjoying a room away from home, a free room, and board, and you're getting 3 meals a day. That's how they looking at it. They not looking at how you being treated, what you being denied, and all of those things. I just had a conversation with Pamela, who's on, she's watching. But I just had a conversation with Pamela earlier, and she was telling me her husband is in Sing Sing. And she was telling me about some things that was going on, and how she write to the Congress, and how she write to these different people, and how those people up there behind those prison walls, they respect her when she go there. And when stuff is when they do stuff that's not right, they be like, there go Miss Legan's here, Miss Legan's here. Like, they recognize that she's here and she's gonna speak up and say something, you know. And a lot of people need to do that. A lot of people need to do that. People need to be afraid to get out of line and get out of order, because if people want to do right, they can do right. I've been a correction officer, so I know. I've worked behind the walls, so I know what it's like. And if you want to do right, you can do right.
Right. And you know, what's important is this: if anyone has any loved ones behind the wall, know that if the people here behind this wall don't have a support system out there, we're going to get handled like it's 1865. Literally, that's no exaggeration. They tell you when to talk. They make us sit on the floor. And you can't speak. I mean, it's just crazy. But if you don't have someone that can call down here, and they know that you have someone that can call down here, they'll handle you any kind of way. And then they actually call it snitching. Like, if they're mistreating you and your family calls, they'll say that you snitched on them like you wasn't supposed to say anything. Like you were supposed to accept it and not say nothing. But when you do something that they feel is wrong, they go get their rank. A sergeant goes to get a lieutenant goes to get a captain goes to get a major. Well, who do you go and get? You got to go to your family. There's no one on this plantation that I can go to for help. And here's another thing. Explain to me how this state, when I came, had 155,000 prisoners, no counselors. You can't go to high school without having a high school counselor, Boy Scouts without having a counselor. The churches have counselors. All education systems have counselors. In Indiana, we had counselors. How do you not have a counselor? Right now, if I'm depressed, if I'm not on medication, I don't have anyone to talk to. And the suicide rate, when it's Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, this is the highest suicide rate of the year. I mean, the guys working in the chow hall, passing out cereal one morning. You know, I'm saying this happened a couple years ago in the all-red unit. The dude was passing out cereal. A few hours later, I heard he had just hung himself. I'm like, I just seen him in the chow hall. You can't tell who's depressed and who's not. But if you're not on psych meds, you don't have anyone to talk to. So the only one to get somebody to talk to is if you're prescribed psychiatric medication. And then when you're prescribed psychiatric medication, the only thing they can do to help you, the only thing that they will try to do to help you is increase the dosage. That's it. You go there, you talk to the lady on the video, how are you doing? Oh, I'm here. Well, what's the matter? Well, I've been here 20 years and I've only had 4 visits. So, you know, I'm not in the best of spirits. Okay, well, see you next month. Like, that's it. There's no resolution. She's not going to take any steps to try to do anything. Well, what's the matter? Well, I'm a political prisoner. They keep tearing up my cell, stealing my property. Oh, okay. Well, see you next month. There's nothing she can do. I can't help you with security issues. I can't help you with anything. Well, why am I here talking to you? So a lot of us shut down. You know, like, why go in there, tell you my life story just for you to say, okay, see you next month? How did it help me? You know? And us that are politically involved, like, you know, they tore my cell up 2 Wednesdays ago. They came in here, cuffed up me and my cellie, took me, gave me a strip search, came back, tore my cell all the way up, stole my banking information, had my credit card information and my banking information. And I was asking them, what's this about? Oh, we'll tell you after we search your cell. So they tear my cell all the way up and they come back and they're like, well, somebody said you approached them aggressively with a weapon. Okay, well, there's cameras everywhere. What'd you see? Well, we couldn't see on the camera. Well, why are you there? repeatedly tearing up my cell and harassing me because I write for San Francisco Bayview newspaper, Parole News magazine, and we're planning to have a nationwide conversation about the celebration of Juneteenth. That we try not to call a boycott, and we try not to say that we're against it, but we are against it. And they know that, so they come and do things like that. They know that I'm a part of Prison Lives Matter, and so I actually need some support. And all the people from Texas Liberation Collective, the people who support Prison Lives Matter, we need people like you out there so that when they come and do what they did to me, they know that they need to stop. So they'll harass me. People call them and they stop. We have an ombudsman who's the go-between that accepts complaints. And I wish I knew that number by heart right now, but I don't know that number by heart. But there's a Texas ombudsman that you call and you complain and you ask them to quit harassing. For example, Jerome Wilson. And it helps. If you think it don't help, you're mistaken. It does help. Because if you don't have anybody, we're out of here. We just defenseless and they just do what they want to do to us. It's sad. So I can understand what's going on in the scene with Pamela. When they see her, they respect her. But it's so many, Texas is so big and spread out. If you're from Dallas and you're down here where I'm at, we're almost in Mexico. That's 6, 7, 8 hour drive. And a lot of people down here, their family can't make it, so they only do video visits, And before the video visits, you'd be surprised how long and spread out someone goes without actual human interaction. And if this person isn't a family member or a wife or sibling, the visit is behind glass. Like, there's no hugging, there's no physical contact. So it's actually really sad. That shouldn't even be there. You shouldn't have to have the visit behind glass. Studies have shown that no physical interaction really affects us adversely. It really does. Like, imagine going 20 years, 10 years, 5 years without touching another human being other than being strip searched and handcuffed. If you just think about that, it's really astounding. I mean, it's unnormal. It's unnatural, rather.
Wow.
So, any support that you can gather for someone, a loved one, is needed. And that's not a plea for me. That's a plea for anybody locked up.
Wow. Wow. I want to thank you for sharing with us today. Wow.
Yeah.
How can people support you in your what you're doing? How can they support the Texas Liberation Coalition?
So, TLC, the TLC movement, we have some documents posted at my website. The biggest one that we're trying to get out there now is the Exposing the Lone Star Chamber of Enslavement series. It's a 3-part document, and I detail how our indictments have been rubber stamped and they violated our constitutional rights. And it goes into detail to explain to you how there was a prison boom in the 90s under the Clinton administration. And the reason that there was a prison boom was because they were able to usurp the authority of the grand jury process by rubber stamping our indictments. So the Constitution of Texas said that everyone has a right to a grand jury proceeding, and to be the answer to your accusers, they have to present evidence and witnesses against you. And actually, the witnesses' names are supposed to be on your indictments. Well, some kind of way, they've got it politically rigged to where the DA goes to the grand jury, says what he says, and they rubber stamp your indictment without any testimony or evidence being presented outside of the state, when the whole position of the state, of the grand jury, is to be a buffer in between the state and the accused to make sure that there is no prosecutorial misconduct in that fashion. So I detail from that point all the way to the enslavement part, and it shows how they were able to build these prisons, not because they needed them, but because they created a market. And so once they built all these prisons, they look just alike. I've been to 5 different prisons in Texas, and all of them look exactly alike. You could blindfold me and tell me to go somewhere on any one of these prisons, and I could walk there because all of these prisons are built alike. So what they did was increased the prisons, and then once they had all of of these beds, they had to fill them. So when they needed to fill them, they went through and rubber stamped all these indictments and just had a rubber indictment mill is what they had, a rubber stamping indictment mill. And so now the prison boom, you have all these people in here who've been here 20 years, 30 years, 15 years. They're back for violating crimes that took place back then. And they're over prison populated and understaffed. If they would close some of these prisons down, they wouldn't be understaffed. They're only understaffed because they have too many prisons, but they don't want to let go of the prisons. So I go into talking about the gerrymandering. I go into talking about how this prison right now is in Karnes County and it has 4,000 inmates where it's supposed to. But some of the buildings have been shut down because the plumbing is messed up and the water had arsenic in it, and et cetera. But anyway, it was designed to have like 4,000 people here. But that's 4,000 bodies that this county gets when they divvy up how much money goes to this county and that county. Well, this county has 4,000 more people here. Even though we can't vote, that money would be distributed like that. So I go into talking about that, and I break down the enslavement of how we're forced to work. I break down how much money TCI, which is Texas Corrections Incorporated, which is different than TDCJ. TDCJ is Texas Criminal Justice Department. Well, that's where we're in prison. But they also have a corporation that makes soaps, shower shoes, apparel, and all of these things where they make a profit. Well, I go into how much money they make every year and how the prisoners aren't being paid to make these things. So I talk about that. And you're able to go from exposing the Lone Star Chamber Part 1 to exposing the Lone Star Chamber Part 3, and I connect the dots and explain everything to you. Even, and it sounds crazy, but through university studies, I even go through and show you how John Doe caught a criminal case, was indicted, and when he was indicted, he was appointed a lawyer by this judge who was paid by the lawyer that he appointed to represent John Doe. So John Doe's lawyer contributed X amount of money to this judge's fund campaign to run for his seat as a judge, and in return, this judge gave him X amount of offenders to represent. So now he's getting paid X amount of dollars every day that he touches one of these defendants' cases. So that's slavery. That's like an auction when one lawyer can contribute money to another lawyer's campaign to be a judge, and then he turns around with a quid pro quo, and appoints all these guys to him. So then the guy gets convicted. Once he gets convicted, now the judge sells him again to an appellant attorney, and this appellant attorney donated funds to his campaign. So this one dude, John Doe, gets sold twice by the same judge and ends up in prison trying to fight his case still because none of them are actually trying to get him out. So I did tell all that. And it sounds crazy when we say slavery, but it's real. This is a living thing. This is human trafficking that's going on. It's human trafficking, it's body brokering, and it's no different than when they were taking us to Wall Street and standing us up there and filling out our testicles and filling out our muscles and running an auction on who wanted to purchase us. It's the exact same thing. Only we can be resold and resold up the pipeline. So, yeah, if you go to justiceforjerome.org and click through to the blog and go to any of those 3 documents, I mean, it would make sense to start at 1. But if you just want to look at the slavery part, you can go to 3. And I have an astounding document posted, which is a speech that I rewrote in the spirit of Frederick Douglass called What to the Slave is Juneteenth. That explains why we're going to go and try to have the Juneteenth situation be a discussion for 2023 and get more people to be aware that slavery still exists, not just in Texas, but in all the other states where we're either being not paid under forced involuntary servitude or we're being paid pennies per hour to work. But here, we just happen to be being not paid at all. But, I mean, if you're giving your labor...
Well, New York, they get $6 every 2 weeks.
Would you work for $6?
And I would not. And I said, and when Pam told me that, I said I would not go to work. I would not be working.
And then you have to look at the fact, some of these guys are innocent. I just left the law library reading a case where this guy, last name was Goins in Houston, was going around setting up people like they were selling crack cocaine, and he got involved in a shooting. And so they opened up and started investigating this officer, and turns out this officer he would check out $1,000 of marked money. And then he would check the same $1,000 of marked money in, but he was saying that these people gave him this marked money. Anyway, they would have drug cases, and they never sold him any drugs. So they would plead guilty to selling drugs to this officer, because if they didn't, they looking at 20, 30 years. So they would take a deal for a lesser amount of time, and they never sold drugs to the officer. They was innocent, but they were scared of getting astronomical numbers in the penitentiary. So this same person who's innocent is working for, and he gets $6 every 2 weeks. He's not guilty. And they say, well, he's in prison. He shouldn't be getting paid. Well, he's in prison doesn't mean he's guilty. That's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, and it's never been the same thing. It's just not. There's too much machinery behind the political aspect of the criminal injustice system to say that we deserve getting what we get, because we're supposed to be confined. What does that have to do with making us go to the cotton fields and pick cotton? What does that have to do with that? You know, that's another story. So, you know, that's where we are with that. So, Justice for Jerome, DivineWilson.org. When you go to the About page, if you want to read about my case, we're going to start a documentary soon. This year, hopefully 2023, I have a documentary out about my case. I haven't figured out what the name of it's going to be, but that's why I've been staying in the law library and staying active with my political rights and advocacy, so that I can keep my name there. And when I finally do go to the Court of Criminal Appeals, I want to have the public big eye on my case, because the main thing about my case, Angela, is that I wanted to represent myself in court. And there's a case called P.O.W.E.R versus California. I requested a P.O.W.E.R hearing. I waived my right to counsel. I wrote the judge several letters, and I tried to represent myself. And here's the reason. In the state of Texas, like in many other states, if you're represented by an attorney, when you go in, the judge won't even look at you. He talks to the lawyer like you're not even there. So you have a court-appointed attorney that paid this judge to represent you. Now when the judge talks, he talks to the lawyer. Hey, Mr. Leitner, is that your client? Yes, this is my client. Well, such and such and such, but the client can't speak up for himself. The client don't know what's in the DA file. Only the lawyer knows. And the lawyer can look, but he can't make copies of it. So in order for you to know what's going on in this DA file, you represent yourself. Well, when they seen that I was attacking my indictment, they never gave me a P.O.W.E.R hearing, which is an automatic reversal. And I've been here 20 years, and my P.O.W.E.R claim has never made it to the foot of the court, because it's all political, and they know that if my P.O.W.E.R claim makes it to the foot of the court, I have an automatic reversal. I should have been home 20 years ago. I have a self-defense case, and it's never made it to the foot of the court. To this day, there's no documents in that courtroom saying that on the day of my offense was committed, which is actually self-defense, which isn't an offense because it's totally legal, I was in the hospital. The person that was shot in my case went to one hospital, and like 7 minutes later, I was in another hospital. And I've been there so long that this Bel-Air hospital has been sold and changed, and I don't know how hard it's going to be for me to go re-get the documents. But the lawyer in my case purposely lost my file with all of the evidence that I gathered and directed him to. So when I hired a lawyer, this lawyer told me, well, you know, you're not the first client I had who had this lawyer, whose name is Randy Schaefer, and his son is Josh Schaefer. We hired them. Well, they never went. We paid you $15,000. Well, $10,000, then another $12,000. And you never went to this hospital to see if I was there? You never went and looked at the phone records that I gave you? You never talked to the private investigator who went and got a recorded tape of the person who was in the car with me and actually set me up to be robbed? there was a recording of him saying that his weapon, he gave his weapon to the person in the back seat of the car so that he had it sitting behind me because I was doing a drug deal. And so even if I was doing a drug deal, I had a right to defend myself. Well, all of the evidence shows what was going on, and they never went to go get it and never presented it to the court. So now I get convicted. I get sent to the penitentiary, and the same lawyer, Jim Leitner, loses my file. So he says, so I write him and I say, hey, where's my file? Oh, I sent it to you. You didn't get it? Well, do you have proof you sent it to me? Randy Schaefer said that he had several clients that had the same lawyer, and they said that he did the same thing. Oh, you didn't get your file? Why is this happening? Why is Randy Schaefer not putting Jim Leitner out there for getting rid of the evidence? Like, this is systemic. There's a system here. There's a pattern here of what he's doing. And as a court-appointed attorney, the judge, Brian Raines, was feeding us to Jim Leitner and letting him do that. It's crazy. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. This needs to be on TV. You know, it needs to be deeper than my documentary. But my documentary would lead to the exoneration of several other people because he was having a whole bunch of capital murder cases. And how do you pick a capital murder jury in a couple hours? When you look at these trials, O.J. Simpson trials, they take weeks. We picked my capital murder jury Monday morning. By lunchtime, my jury was picked. We came back after lunch and started my trial Monday afternoon. And by Wednesday at 3:30 or 4 o'clock, I was convicted. How is that possible for a capital murder? Can you hold a 2.5-day trial for capital murder? Because when the state rested their case, this same attorney, Jim Leitner, that donated to Brian Raines' campaign to be a judge, he rested. He didn't put one single witness on that stand on my case. He stood up and said the defense rest and never put a witness on the stand. And I'm not the only one that he did it to. Justice for Jerome Devani Wilson. You can donate to me by going to the About page, or I think on the home page. If you scroll down, there's a donate button. Thank you, Angela, for your time. Thank you, listeners. And hopefully you can get me back on here.
All right. You have a great evening.
You do the same. They need to be on the lookout for Cornell Drummer, who you're going to have on here. Make sure you tell them about him. The Curious Case of Cornell Drummer.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
The caller has.
Wow. Y'all, I tell you, y'all don't realize what goes on in the life of people. I tell you, I thank Chinchilla J for what she does and how she goes to bat for those that are wrongfully and overly incarcerated. Y'all, that is one of the authors that's a part of the 122 author movement. We were supposed to have Kalia Calvin on, but we got this call in. She came in the back office. I didn't get to go over to tell her, but I'm going to reach back out to her and allow her to come on and have an interview. But y'all, these are the things that are going on behind prison walls. These are the things that are happening to our brown people. Y'all, this is affecting too many people. I made a post on yesterday, and I posted some statistics. I've been talking about this for over 6 months now on my show, WBNN. I didn't know why I started talking about this, but then I started getting people reaching out to me that were behind prison wall, that were authors and wanted to be on the platform, wanted to share their story, wanted to share their books and the things that they were doing and trying to get free. Y'all, this is sad. I see so much. I just see so much going on. But I'm thankful for people like Pam. I'm thankful for Shaneria. I'm thankful for Chinchilla, because they truly go to bat, and the women of the wall, all of them that are truly trying to seek justice for these people that have been wrongfully and overly incarcerated. I was looking at an article. I think it popped in my phone. That judge that somebody had arranged to kidnap her. Why did they give the kidnappers 15 years? They was finna kidnap and kill her. And they gave her 15 years. Now, if they had been a brown person, they would have been trying to throw the book at them. They would have been trying to give them the death penalty. Yeah, we can't keep being quiet. We can't keep being just let everything just turn the left cheek and the right cheek. Why? Why we got to humble ourselves to people treating us any kind of way? They said slavery was over, but the only thing they did was move it to the prison system. These people already designed a lot of this stuff when they started coming out of slavery. They was having all these meetings, the KKK. You can look at all these documents. Go back, look at this stuff. These white people ain't have sense enough to hide nothing. They did stuff out in the open. They got all kind of stuff that you can see. They set up welfare. They set up these low income housing, and then they're gonna tell you that no man can't live with you. How you gonna take the man out of the family? We ain't got no airplanes. We ain't got no ships. We ain't got no boats. We don't have none of that. So how do we bring the drugs into the neighborhood? Yeah, we may sell them, but how did they get there? We didn't bring them there. But y'all allow this stuff. Y'all bring this stuff over here because y'all want to monopolize off of it. And then y'all want to do it at the risk of our brown people. Our brown men have suffered enough, long enough. Y'all are taking them out of the homes. Y'all are taking them out of society. And it's not okay. It is not okay. Well, I just want to thank y'all that tuned in. I tell you, I enjoyed listening to Mr. Jerome. Had an opportunity. I've had several opportunities to talk to him. He's been on my show over on the WBNN. If y'all get an opportunity to go over, check it out. Check out that interview. Y'all can go visit his website, www.justiceforJeromeDevonte I am one of the ambassadors that is trying to push for his release. I try to share as much as I can. He has a line of breast cancer awareness merchandise up, and some active wear. It's like hoodies, t-shirts, leggings. There's some sports bras for the women, backpacks, notebooks, just different things that represent his brand and represents the Pick Poetry Nation, which is a breast cancer awareness movement. But y'all, we got to keep these men and women that are wrongfully and overly incarcerated lifted in prayer. Pray that they get just judicial system together. And we need more brown people to stand up. We need more brown lawyers. We need more brown judges. They can't keep putting us in the mills. They can't keep putting us where we don't want to be. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I truly am sorry I didn't get to get Miss Kayla on here, but I really wanted to get the opportunity to allow y'all to hear from Mr. Jerome. His interview was actually supposed to be tomorrow around this time. But maybe I can get Miss Kayla on tomorrow in his place. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If y'all would, please go over, check out his website, www.justiceforJeromeDevonte I am the queen of collaboration, Angela. Thomas. I'm the founder of AAALAC, the African American Author Literacy Awareness Campaign, the CEO of Aspiring Authors Magazine. I will be right back, and in probably about 15-20 minutes, I have another guest that will be on at 6 p.m. Yeah, we'll be back. Y'all go grab y'all a drink, and we'll be back. About 19-20 minutes, we'll be back. Y'all have a great evening. For those that can't make it back, for those that can, I'll see y'all in a few.